Hello everyone and welcome to Game 7 of the World Chess Championship match between Nepomniachtchi and the Ding Liren. I apologize as my voice is not working properly, so I will not be able to make a full video. I've tried, but my voice completely cracks up after a few minutes, so I'm just going to give you the short version, and only once my voice improves I'm going to do a very detailed version as I usually do. So basically what happened here after e4, Ding played pawn to e6. He went for the French defense, which is a huge surprise as usually in this championship. Ding replied with e5 to pawn to d4. We have d4, d5, knight to d2, the Tarrasch variation of the French, and now pawn to c5. Knight g to f3. We have a trade here, captures, captures, knight to f6, and now e captures on d5. A lot of horsing around here. Knight 2 to f3, and now bishop to e7. Usually bishop to b4 is played here, so bishop to e7 made Nepo think a little bit. We have bishop to c4, and now knight to c6, offering a chance to mess up Ding's pawn structure, and Jan accepts the challenge. We have captures, captures, and now both players just castle here. So castles, castles, and now queen to e2, preparing bishop to d3, so you can kick away the knight with c4, but also attack that h7 pawn. We have bishop to b7, similar to, not similar, exactly the same as Kasparov's old tutor played in 1987 in a game against Yuri Krupa. His name was also Yuri, but Yuri Dohayan. And it's interesting because it seems like you can contest the bishop with bishop to a6, but this would actually be pretty bad because after captures, captures, and queen b6, the white queen has no business being there. So not a lot to enjoy. So after bishop to b7, bishop to d3 was played, and this is now a completely new game. We have queen to c7, and now queen to e4. Nepo just goes for checkmate here. We have knight to f6. Everyone expected g6 here, but the Ding plays knight to f6, and this is where the position really opened up. Queen to h4. Now threatens some bishop g5, captures, and queen captures on h7. Checkmate ideas, and pawn to c5 by Ding. Just opens up his dark square, light square bishop, and here bishop to f4 by Nepo. Bishop to g5, although it looks great after h6, you have to give up the bishop for 2 pawns if you want it to mean something, and now it's basically a draw. After rook d to f8, you're gonna have to repeat moves with queen g5, queen to h6, so not spectacular. So after bishop to f4, queen to b6 was played, and now knight to e5 by Ding. You could also try to win a pawn here with bishop captures on e7, on h7, but it's not spectacular because black also messes up your pawn structure. So knight to e5 was played, and now rook a to d8. We have rook a to e1 by Nepo, and this is a spectacular move because so many moves are possible here. Bishop captures on h7 is possible, bishop to g5 is possible, knight to g4 is possible. I'm just going to show knight to g4 because it's it's really a wonder. You're going to have to play rook captures on g3, otherwise you're just going to get checkmated with check and checkmate. So rook captures on d3, c captures, and now knight to d5 with an attack on the queen and the bishop here. And now if you go bishop to g5, you lose the game because after f6 you have to move the bishop, and now f5 comes with an attack on the knight and the queen. So you're gonna have to play queen back to g3, and now you can go for anything. Even h5 is enough. Let's say knight to e3, pawn to h4, knight captures on d5, attacks the black queen, and now after bishop captures and queen to e3, you get this position. Queen to b7, the pawn is very nice here, the bishop pair is fully operational, the queen bishop battery going after the g2 pawn. It would be great for black, so not really something to look forward to, this knight to g4 move. So that's why Nepo kept the tension. He played rook a to e1, now prepares a rook lift here, and now we have pawn to g6 by Ding, finally taking care of that, and the situation on the clock is over an hour for Nepo and some 37 minutes for Ding. And here bishop to g5, we have rook to d4, attacking the queen here, queen to h3, and now queen to c7. This is by far the best move for Ding, and it took him a bit of a time to find it. Another moves you could consider are knight to d5, and now you go into knight d7, attacking the queen, and now you have to play knight to f4. You can't really allow this check, so knight to f4 attacks the queen, and now bishop captures and just rook captures on d7. Bishop to e5 puts pressure on this on the dark squares, but after rook f to d8, it's perfectly fine. Now bishop can come to f8, and you defend everything. So here, queen to c7 by Ding, b3, stopping any future c4 ideas, knight to h5, and now pawn to f4. Pawn to f4 is very nice by Nepo. You could, again, consider many other moves, like bishop to h6, you can consider bishop captures on e7. Capturing here isn't ideal, because after captures and c3, there's this very nasty rook to h4 move. Now the queen from e7 guards the h4 square, and now after the queen moves, you can play knight to f4, and it just looks really, really bad. Like pawn to f3, queen is coming to g5, and not the best. So instead, after knight to h5, we have pawn to f4 by Nepo, and now bishop to d6. We have pawn to c3, and in order to play bishop to d6, you really had to know what to play on pawn to c3. So c3 was played, and now comes knight captures on f4. Bishop captures on f4. Better for Nepo would be rook captures on f4, but it seems he missed an idea. The problem is, after bishop captures on e5, you can't play c captures on d4, because then bishop captures on f4 comes, and if bishop captures on f4, just queen captures on f4. So that's the problem. Black will be much better here, and you can't really go for the rook rook with the bishop, because then bishop f6, and you can't really stop checkmate. So the thing is, here you have to find bishop captures on g6. That's the move. And now after h captures on g6, c captures on d4. Again, you cannot capture the rook, because bishop to f6 now will be definitely checkmate. Here you're going to have to play c captures on d4, and now after bishop to f6, you will have to trade. Checkmate is coming, so you have to trade captures, and you get this position where Nepo is up the exchange, but the Ding has the monster bishop and the passed d pawn. So I don't know, definitely could be crazy. But instead, Nepo went for bishop captures on f4. Now comes rook captures on f4, and now bishop captures on e5. We have rook to h4, putting pressure on h7, but the Ding just plays rook to d8. He keeps the tension. The problem is, if you play bishop captures on c3, then you just allow bishop captures on g6, attacking the bishop and putting pressure on the h7 pawn. And if bishop captures on e1, bishop captures on h7, king g7, it looks like you shouldn't be able to survive this, but you actually can. Rook g4, king to f6, and now queen to e3. You can't go for this, because the bishop covers the h4 square. So queen to e3, king to e7, and now let's say queen captures on e1. Now queen to d6, and the Ding is perfectly fine. While you could play it, maybe you allow a bit too much king walking. So rook to d8 was played. Now comes bishop e4, offering a trade of light square bishops, because let's face it, now that g6 was played, Ding's bishop is much scarier than Nepo's bishop on d3. So captures, and now rook to d5, just defending that bishop here. Rook to h4, putting pressure on h7, and now comes queen to d6 by Ding. You could also consider h5, but the Ding shows that this is not a threat. If you play rook captures on h7, rook d1, and black wins the game. White has to resign here. This is hanging, and also if you move the queen, the rook here is hanging. You don't have rook to h8. So it's a pretty terrible position for black. So instead, queen to e3 was played by Nepo. Now pawn to h5 by Ding, making the position even better for him. Now the rook really has only a few squares. g3, now comes bishop to f6, attacking the rook. And you don't have rook f4 because of bishop g5. So rook to c4 was played, and now pawn to h4 by Ding. And here you can really feel how black is putting pressure on White's position, and here g captures on h4. There are moves you could consider, like queen to f4, which are objectively better, but the Ding was very low on the clock. He had 5 minutes, and Nepo really wanted to capitalize on that, and I'm sure you know what happened there. And here Ding went into a thing. He had 5 minutes on the clock, and he thought for like 5 minutes, and he played rook to d2, and he was down to 45 seconds, and he still has 8 moves to make in 45 seconds. That's absolutely insane. As there is no increment. So here, rook to e2 was played. Nepo, of course, has to defend against queen captures on h2, so he played this fairly quickly, rook to e2, and now Ding has to go back rook to d5 just in order to try and hold this. But he played rook to d3, and now feel free to pause the video and win the game for Nepo while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on spotting this wonderful move. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is Queen captures on c5. This is what Nepo played, and now there is really nothing more for Ding here. Sorry about that. Here, rook to d1 check was played, king to g2, and now just queen to d3. But there is nothing here to try. The rook is hanging, now just rook to f2. Going after the bishop, king to g7, and now rook c to f4. Sorry about that. Really struggling with my voice today. I have no idea. Probably my daughter brought something back from the kindergarten, but what are you going to do? And here, queen captures on c3 was played, but he was also in this position on move 37 that Ding Liren resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. Plus, also, he had 3 seconds on the clock. So basically, what we have here is a World Chess Championship game decided by flagging. Incredible as that sounds, but that's exactly what happened here. There's no move you can make. I mean, even if you don't capture on c3, there's nothing. Rook captures on f6 is coming, and that's it. But now the game would continue, obviously, with queen captures on c3, bishop captures, and rook captures on f7. And, I mean, Nepo is up the exchange. He's up a pawn. Of course, this is completely winning for him. So a great surprise by Ding. He really had something here up until this position where even h4 was played. Even this was fine. And g captures on h4 was not optimal for Nepo, but he played against Ding's clock. He made this move. Ding had to really think, and with 5 minutes on the clock, he spent all 5 on rook to d2, which is absolutely amazing. It's a slow position that you should probably meet with something like king to g7. Just slow play this and then, you know, improve your position little by little. But Ding couldn't. He went for checkmate. Nepo defended, and then he blundered the entire game with rook to d3. So unimaginable. World Chess Championship game decided by flagging. I mean, and Nepo actually actively flagged him. That's the incredible thing here. So, you know, I still can't believe that this happened. But yeah, Nepo again takes the match. It is now 4-3 for Nepo. We'll see what the Ding brings for game 8 with the white pieces. So yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry for a bit of a shorter video on this game, but my voice can't handle a longer one, and I really wanted to show this game. So really apologize for that. Once my voice returns, I will try to make a full video with all the variations, as there are so many great variations here. So, you know, stay tuned for that. Until then, hopefully my voice improves for game 8. So yeah. That's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Very nicely done by Nepo. I would like to thank Guven Mana, Barry McMurdoch, McWell, Shirley, Yondain Gutierrez, and Paul Sass for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing the coverage of the World Chess Championship. See you soon.